Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Channel 22 sports presentation. Tonight, the Hawthorne Cougars will host the Port Hueneme Vikings here at Hal Cap Field in Hawthorne, California. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dave Marks with Channel 22 Sports. This will be the first football home game for the Hawthorne Cougars. And here to tell you something a little bit about what you can expect tonight in this good ball game, we're going to go down to the field to the Grateful Dead fan with a suit on, Ken Fine. What do you got, Ken?
Hey, I'm Ken Fine down here on the field, and I'm going to talk to you about the new coach that's come in here in Hawthorne this year. His name is James Swain. He was the defensive coordinator for this Hawthorne Cougar team for the last 4 years. So he's getting his chance to come down here on the field and take the helm of this defensive and offensive team, the whole team as a go. And so we're going to get to see him for the first time here on Channel 22 do a great job for Hawthorne and hopefully win this game for his team. Back up to you, Dave.
All right, thank you very much, Ken. It'll be the Hawthorne Cougars kicking off as Port Hueneme wins the toss. And we are underway. First ball game of the year for Hawthorne, and they kick it deep. It'll be taken right at the goal line and run out. As they run it up, Leslie Lee running it back, and he looks like he got it to a little bit short of the 20-yard line, and that's where Port Hueneme, I know we were going to do that a couple of times tonight. Keep reminding you I'm an East Coast person, so I don't know anything about Port Hueneme, but that's the first time we mispronounced it tonight. Let's try not to do it again. The Port Hueneme Vikings are going to start the offense first and 10 from the 18-yard line, and they are coached by Larry Miller. They are a team that likes to run the ball. They say they like to mix up the offense, but for the most part, they do try to keep it on the ground, and they use a tight wing T. And they'll have three backs in the backfield: Dwayne Taylor, Leslie Lee, and Tamara Lee. Alan Pineda is the starting quarterback. He's number 4. Three backs in the backfield, and they give it to number 11. That's Dwayne Taylor around the right side. Good blocking. He's headed down the sideline. There's one man to beat as he cuts to the inside, and they're going to take him down at the 50-yard line. So there, Port Hueneme going to the ground. They use the three backs. Their starting offense in the backfield: quarterback Alan Pineda, Dwayne Taylor, Leslie Lee, and Tamara Lee. The starting receivers who get the ball thrown to them rather sparingly: Jarrett Levette, Jesus Suarez, and on the line, going from left to right, Daniel Hernandez is a left tackle. Juan Batista is the left guard. Dean Smith is the starting center. Chris Hayes is the right guard, and Jose Ochoa is the right tackle. So it's first and 10. As they run the ball down for 5 yards, quick 5-yard game, so they pulled off some big yards on the first 2 carries. As Tamara Lee gets the carry there, he is the senior. Tamara Lee and Leslie Lee, both Lees in the backfield along with Dwayne Taylor. Taking a look at the defense with the Hawthorne Cougars, they run a 4-3 defense. Junior Dwayne Smith and Bo Tupuo Kahahu are on the line, along with Samodi Naha and Clint Silvestri. Linebacker Salim Stevens, Momo Villamaguna, and Billy Mitchell as they hand it off again. And running for some positive yards, Dwayne Taylor. He's close to the first down marker. He looks like he will have it. Looking at the defensive backfield tonight for the Hawthorne Cougars. At the safety positions, free safety is Kingsley Etchema. He's a senior. Courtney Barton will be the strong safety. And the Simmons brothers will be at the corners: Aaron Simmons and Elgin Simmons. They are both juniors. That's a Hawthorne Cougar defense that has bent a little bit on these first couple of plays. We are some 1.5 minutes into this first quarter here. First home game for the Hawthorne Cougars. They are 1-1. Port Hueneme is 1-1. Pinedo in there at quarterback. Three backs in the backfield. They look to plug the hole, and they're going to hand it off again to Taylor. Taylor around the right side. Good blocking. And he is close to another first down as he heads out of bounds right at about the 25-yard line. Well, these are two teams, of course, Hawthorne Division 3, Port Hueneme Division 4. Hawthorne in the Bay League dropping to Division 3 this season. They had been in Division 2 the past couple of years. Port Hueneme, they are in the Pacific View League, which is up in the Oxnard area, Oxnard-Ventura area. First 2 games they've spent on the road. They lost big to Arroyo Grande, and they beat Huntington Beach last week very impressively, running the ball very well. And to give here this time is to Leslie Lee. Leslie Lee is going to get that ball down to about the 10-yard line, and it looks to be first and goal or thereabouts for the Port Hueneme Vikings. Port Hueneme Vikings Mentioned once again, coached by Larry Miller. Larry Miller graduated Port Hueneme High School, their head coach. He also went to Fresno State, where he was a halfback and wound up playing a little bit in the CFL with British Columbia. So he had some good high school, college, and pro experience as Hawthorne takes a timeout. A little confused about the defense right there and what they want to do. So the timeout taken, and they'll talk things over. The timeout comes at the 9:38 mark of the first quarter. No score, but the Port Hueneme Vikings, as you can see, are on the move against the 4-3 defense, which has not been able to stop the three running back attack of Taylor and the Lee brothers on this rather comfortable but somewhat cool night. The Cougar mascot. Few sprinkles in the air tonight, messing up your windshield somewhat, as this officially was the first day of fall. Now, you may be seeing this game played back on Saturday, but we are taping it on a Friday night, and fall came at 10:27 a.m. So you see some of the crowd. It is not freezing cold, although for people in Southern California, they may consider this cold. There's the coaching staff of the Hawthorne Cougars. Coach Swain was an assistant for many years, now getting his chance to coach the big team. And he has a team, especially on the offense, where there are a couple of key players that are back. It is a Hawthorne Cougar team that did not make the playoffs in '99. They won the Bay League in '98, and they did it by beating Peninsula and getting to the second round of the CIF Southern Section Division II playoffs, where they were stopped right here by Dominguez. So they're hoping this is a year they can rebound. First down here, and there the stop is made. Nice stop as they come up quickly to close off the lanes. Leslie Lee not able to get anywhere. And it's going to bring up second down and about 9. And the 4-3 defense coming up big. That time for the Hawthorne Cougars. If you have to analyze passing attacks here tonight, you'd have to say that Hawthorne should have the better of it passing when they do get the ball, because they have the more experienced quarterback who can put it up. Second down and 9. We get a little movement here. Hawthorne players clapping, as they may have been drawn off sides, and I think we're going to get a procedure call. Yes, we will, against Port Hueneme. Well, you saw a big number 72, Cameron Stevens there. He's a senior. He is starting on that defensive line tonight. Second down and about 14 for Port Hueneme. This is their first drive. Flankers flanked out this time, but they're going to keep it on the ground, and eluding the tackle on a good run is Dwayne Taylor. He'll get some positive yards. He was almost tripped up there as he tried to get around the end, but instead is going to get it to about the 15-yard line. And it'll be third down and about 11, big third down with 8:50 to go in the first quarter. And as you can see, they just missed there. Salam Stevens had a little bit of a shot at him, not able to get him on the first attempt. Stevens coming up from the linebacker spot. So here's a big third down, third and 11. Single back in the backfield is Leslie Lee. Fake it, they're going to go to the air. A little lob left side, and it's incomplete. They were looking for Dwayne Taylor out of the backfield that time, but he was covered fairly well. And it's going to bring up a fourth down and about 11. And I don't see them bringing the field goal unit out, so looks like they're going to go for it deep in the Hawthorne territory. Alex Magdaleno is the place kicker, but he is not coming out. So it's fourth and 11. They will be going for it. Single back in the backfield, man coming in motion. Back to throw, under a rush. And he's going to be eluding the tackle. Eludes the first tackle, can't get away from the second. First one there to meet him. On the stop is Salim Stevens, but Dwayne Smith wraps him up. So Stevens started it, Smith wrapped him up, and that'll end the drive at the 8:21 mark to go. Hawthorne will take over on downs. There you see, he had him around the ankles, but was able to stay up on his feet. And finally, he's taken down there. So the big play on 4th down. Port Hueneme is denied the scoreboard, and Hawthorne goes to the offense. Eric Mwala in there at quarterback. And he runs one off to the left side for a couple of yards. He, of course, is one of the captains. Taking a look at the starting offense for the Hawthorne Cougars. Eric Mwala, the senior captain at quarterback. Kingsley Etchema and Lamar Keeble, they're also captains. They are lined up in the backfield as they had a flag on the play there, something charged against Hawthorne, probably a procedure call. The receivers for Hawthorne, Courtney Barton, he's a junior. Monroe Alexander, he's a senior. And tight end Clint Silvestri, he is a senior, and he's also a captain. Get a holding call against Hawthorne Cougars. That's going to set him back 10 yards. On the line for Hawthorne, Samoti Naha, he's a senior. Dwayne Smith, also on the line, a junior. He's a two-way player. Frank Valenzuela on the offensive line. Raymond Aqual, a junior, 225-pounder, and Isaú Velasquez on the line. First down and long as the ball is fumbled. Let's see who's got it. Port Hueneme pointing in their favor, and they may have the football. Yes, they do. So not a good start to the home season for the Hawthorne Cougars. Penalty on the first drive, a fumble on the second, and they're going in reverse. Let's see who the culprit is. Slipping down there in the bottom of the pile. The field is not wet, although in the middle of the field it is kind of mushy. As it looked like Mwala just didn't get the snap. Coaching staff is puzzled by it, and it's going to put him in a hole, a big hole.
What, you under there?
7:54 to go. First down and goal. Ball looks to be at about the 4-yard line. So back to the offense for Port Hueneme. Pinedo has got Leslie Lee, single back in the backfield. Man going in motion. He's going to give it to Lee. Straight ahead, looking for the end zone. Spins off, and is going to be taken down at about the 2-yard line. So he had that little spin, trying to get himself some extra yards, but the defense comes to stop him for about a 2-yard gain. And it's going to be second down and goal. Clock runs at the 7:35 mark of the first quarter. No score yet, but the Port Hueneme Vikings in good shape. Stop made that time by Samode Naha. Naha getting there for the tackle. Second down and goal. Single back in the backfield again, Leslie Lee. Wayne Taylor in motion. Back to throw, under a rush, pass is caught for short yardage. Wayne Taylor catching the ball as quarterback Pinedo was under the gun, able to get it off. Nice rollout there by Pinedo. And Dwayne Taylor gets him positive yardage. It's going to be third and goal. Ball appears to be at about the 5-yard line. Hawthorne sideline. I need to come up with another big stand here. Third and goal. Single back in the backfield for Port Hueneme. Leslie Lee is that single back. Pinedo, the QB. Tamar Lee in motion. Going to roll out. Looking for the corner, and he's going to be brought down. The ball is loose, but they're going to say he was downed. So the ground cannot cause a fumble. He was hit before the ball came loose. And with quarterback Pinedo rolling out to the left side, that's against his throwing. Usually if you're a right-handed quarterback, if you roll right, that's going with your throwing arm. And this time some penetration made there, as you can see. And the jerseys get in and finish him off. Dwayne Smith got the tackle to close it out, but it was good penetration. Originally by Eric Mwala, who was in there. So it's fourth and goal. They went for it on fourth down and 11 the last time. Here it's fourth down and goal from the 5. Hawthorne defense being asked to come up big again. Lee in the backfield. Back to throw, and it's a touchdown. Soft little lob to Tamar Lee. And Port Hueneme, the Vikings are on the board first at the 6:38 mark of the first quarter. 5-yard pass from Alan Pineda to Tamar Lee, and they will go for the point after. Looked like it was a little play action fake on that one here, as we may get a chance to see it again. As it looks like they will go for a 1-point conversion. Alex Magdaleno will be attempting to kick. And the 1-point try is straight through there. Flag comes in late, 5:33 to go. And we've got a roughing the kicker call against Hawthorne, so they'll keep the point on the board. The yardage will be assessed on the kickoff. And Port Hueneme leads by a score of 7-0. Well, we're going to take a look at the touchdown again, the pass from Pinedo to Tamara Lee. See the tail end of it there, a little slant in for Lee, making it 6-0. And for the Hawthorne Cougars, off to a not such a hot start here tonight. Find themselves trailing. Port Hueneme, the first drive was stopped on 4th and about 11. And the new Hawthorne Cougar logo. New helmets this season. How about that? When somebody in the art department came up with that idea. Arts and crafts. Our truck says the basket weaving class. They ought to know. 5:38 to go, this first home ball game. Port Hueneme will kick off from the Hawthorne 45-yard line due to the penalty, the running into the kicker penalty. And we'll see if the Cougar offense can respond a little better than they did on the first drive. This is Bo Cajo running the ball. And Cajo is going to get it to about the 24-yard line. That's where the Hawthorne Cougars will put it in play 1st and 10. Well, the touchdown coming at the 5:38 mark. Port Hueneme, 5-yard touchdown pass. And as Hawthorne goes to the offense, we take a look at the low kickoff here. There's Cajo. And he gets a couple of yards. So 1st and 10 for Hawthorne. And there's the pitch. And down the sideline. He may go. Big yardage reeled off by Lamar Keeble, one of the captains. He's a senior. So that'll wake him up a little bit. Lamar Keeble with a big long run down the sideline. Getting some life for the Hawthorne Cougars. Things starting off a lot better on this second drive than the first drive. First drive resulting in a big penalty, holding penalty, and then a fumble. Here's Keeble just on a sprint. 1st and 10 from Hawthorne. They've got it on about the 38-yard line. Single back in the backfield. Mwala. He can put it up. Puts it up, and it's incomplete. Intended for Monroe Alexander, the senior out there. Alexander covered on the play. Looked like he might have heard footsteps. Catchable ball that probably should have been caught. And it'll bring up 2nd and 10. Hawthorne, a team that can put the ball in the air fairly effectively. We have an experienced quarterback like Eric Mwala, an experienced booster squad. I formation in the backfield. They give it to Kingsley Etchema. Tries to bounce off a few people. Will get short yardage. Kingsley Etchema, he's a senior and one of the captains, the younger brother of the fellow who is now playing college football. So the Etchema family from Nigeria, well represented in the rounds of high school and collegiate football. This play here slow to develop at the 4:35 mark. Hawthorne up to the line. It's 4th and about 9.5. Receiver split to both sides. Single back in the backfield. On the option, they pitch it back, and it's going to be met for a crunch. Lamar Keeble got the pitch, but the defense coming right up. And it looked like it was Dwayne Taylor who got there coming up from the cornerback position to nail him. They lose yards, and a drive that started off with a long run by Lamar Keeble is going to end in a punt attempt. There you see the big crunching hit put on. That's Leslie Lee who made the hit. And this is Courtney Barton to do the punting. Good high punt. Going to be fielded and downed almost immediately. That's Tamara Lee, not able to advance it. So the Hawthorne Cougars pinning the Port Hueneme Vikings way back. And Port Hueneme will put it into play. See Lee not able to do much on this. Stopped right at the 10-yard line. So some happy defensive players. Port Hueneme puts it into play, 1st and 10. And there's throw going out to the left side and running for some positive yards. That's Dwayne Taylor on the catch from Alan Pineda. This is their 3rd offensive possession. First possession took them deep in Hawthorne territory where they failed to make it on 4th and 11. Second possession, they got it 1st and goal following a fumble, and they scored on 4th and goal from the 5-yard line. Now they will have to go deep on the 2nd down. They give it to the first back, and stopped almost immediately is Leslie Lee. So no gain by Leslie Lee, defense up to meet him. 4-3 defense being played tonight by the Hawthorne Cougars. It's going to make it 3rd down and very long to go. The sideline with those new helmets, same color on the jerseys, but just a little bit different design on the helmet. Alan Pineda. Usually a passing formation, passing situation. He will attempt to pass. He will get it off, and he will complete it. Dwayne Taylor coming back to get the ball as he rolled way out to the right side. And it's a big 3rd down pass. Dwayne Taylor on the catch. He'll keep the drive going for the Port Hueneme Vikings. Pineda was being rushed from the outside. He was in trouble, as you're going to see. They've been getting some penetration on there, but just not able to finish him off. Clinton Silvestri had a shot at him right there and gets there a little late. He's able to get it off, and Dwayne Taylor knew where he had to be to make that catch. And it's 1st and 10. Ball on the 40. They hand it off and going nowhere. So the Hawthorne defense has stiffened somewhat on the run past couple of plays. A little rough at that time for Leslie Lee. But we have a call going against Hawthorne here. So that'll nullify the good play. So the stop is made, but Hawthorne shooting themselves in the foot as they are going to see 15 yards marched off against them. And again, something that will not make the coaching staff exceedingly glad, to say the least. So they stop him well on 1st down, but the penalty coming in, giving them 15 free yards. 1st and 10 for the Vikings. This time they hand it off again. Julian Gooden doing a little cutting back, and he's going to pick up about 15 yards, getting it down to about the 28-yard line. Julian Gooden, he's a senior coming in. His first carry of the night at the 1:52 mark of the 1st quarter. Port Hueneme on the move again. Got it 1st and 10 from the Hawthorne 29. This drive aided by that 15-yard penalty. And he gets some good blocking. Good lead block there. 1st and 10 from the 29. Man in motion. And they give it to Leslie Lee. Leslie Lee to about the 25. Picks up about 4 yards on the play. Oh, it's been a 1st quarter for Hawthorne that's somewhat frustrating when you consider the fumble and this penalty. as it winds down here at Howcap Field. First home game of the season, and this will be the last non-league game. They'll be getting into league play next week. Second down and about 6. And they're going to throw it out to the right to the man in motion, but this time Dwayne Taylor not able to come up with what would have been a spectacular diving catch. And it'll bring a third down and 6 for the Vikings of Port Hueneme. This time they faked it to Lee, looking for him out there in the flat. So on the third down play, you figure in this situation it's 2-down territory as they went for it on 4th down and deep on their first 2 possessions. If they don't make it here, Hawthorne is probably going to have to stop them 2 times, but first there's a little movement on the line, and looks like for the second time in the quarter, Port Hueneme may have committed a procedure. Illegal procedure. That's going to back them up. It'll bring up a 3rd and 11 play. 55 seconds to go first quarter. Hawthorne rushing the 4-down lineman. Single back in the backfield. Passing formation for the Vikings. And Pinedo back to throw. Under a rush. And this time he's going to be taken down. But no, he gets the ball off. It looked like he was taken down, but somehow Leslie Lee comes up with the ball, and he picks up a first down and more. How about that one? This I must see again. He was down and surrounded by a host of Viking jerseys. How did Leslie Lee get that football? Cajo had him wrapped up. Was it fumbled and he picks it? No, he just handed it to him. How about that? Now, the thing that the Hawthorne Cougars may be asking here on this play, what they may be asking is, was the quarterback Pinedo stopped? Was his forward progress stopped? Was he in the grasp when he handed that off? You see the officials are discussing it. And this one is going to go, unfortunately, against the Hawthorne Cougars. It looked like he was wrapped up dead to right by Cajo. But forget it, because personal foul called anyway. So this is the first quarter with 41 seconds to go that the Hawthorne Cougars would like to see end very, very quickly, because that old saying about Murphy's Law of what could go wrong will go wrong has gone wrong in the first quarter. It looked like Bo Cajo had Pinedo wrapped up, but somehow he was able to just get it to Lee, just flip it to him, and Lee picking up the big yards for the first down. And even if the referees overruled it and said he was in the grasp, well, the big penalty negates that anyway. So first down, and they hand the ball off. Going left side is Tamar Lee. Tamar Lee down to about the 5-yard line. 30 seconds to go now. It'll bring up a 2nd and goal for the Port Hueneme Vikings. Only one positive play in this first quarter for Hawthorne. That's the long run. Long run made by Lamar Keeble. But everything else has come up wrong. This will be the last play of the quarter. And with it being the last play, it would not surprise me if Port Hueneme scores on this last play of the quarter as they hand it off, heading to the outside and for the end zone. And sorry I jinxed them, but they scored. Dwayne Taylor, last play of this disastrous first quarter for the Hawthorne Cougars. As Taylor takes it in, and this is the first quarter of the first game of the year that I'm sure they have glad to see complete. It is right now 13-0 as we take a look at it again. Dwayne Taylor getting the big block. And number 63, Chris Haynes, out there throwing the key block, and now they go for the point after. Victor Perez will be doing the kicking. But before he does, we have delay of game against the offense, so they took a little bit of time. And I guess this technically means it's still the first quarter. So until they get this ball kicked, we are still in what has been a disastrous home opening first quarter for the Hawthorne Cougars here at Howcap Field, as they will now have to kick a little longer one-point conversion, which makes it somewhat more adventurous. And then the quarter will be mercifully over for Hawthorne. But not yet. This first quarter still has a little more life. How about that? Now, who's this one on? Another procedure called on the PAT? Well, maybe now they have to go for the two-point conversion. As the referees discuss it, when this quarter ends, we are going to be going to Ken Fine. Offside against Hawthorne, so a little bit up and a little bit back. Now it makes it a little bit of an easier kick. Somewhat easier. If they can line it up. Come on, fellas. We got 3 more to go. This isn't the most exciting part for the viewers. Let's get this 1 point off. All right, the 1-point conversion looks to be no good. So, at the end of quarter number 1, you're saying finally it's over? Yes, I know how you feel. 13-0 in favor of Port Hueneme, and here to somehow make some sense of quarter number 1, we go down to the field with the dapperly dressed Ken Fine.
Yeah, we're down here, and you can see the crowd and all the people back here. This is a great game. Problem is the Cougars are not having a great offensive game. They fumbled on their first drive down there around the 10-yard line. It gave the Hueneme team a chance to pick up a second drive, take the ball in. Now, they get their second drive, take it, and Keeble takes the ball for a 44-yard run. The problem is they can't key on it and get it in the end zone. They punt, and back comes the ball for Hueneme, and they just put another score up on the board, but they couldn't get the kick in. So it's only 13-0, but Hawthorne's offense has to get a chance to get on this field. Their defense cannot be playing this whole game. But hey, the game's early. We've only been through 1 quarter. Get ready for some more football. Back to you, Dave.
Well, Ken, I am having problems hearing you and the truck, so I trust what you said was good, and I hope you didn't say anything about me, because if you did, you are in trouble. But right now, the electricity has been restored to our broadcast booth, but our power to the truck apparently has not been, as I was not able to hear Ken, and right now I'm not hearing the truck, but you folks out there are hearing me, and you are seeing quarter number 2 start on this kickoff. Hawthorne will be getting the kickoff and looking for a good run back. Lamar Keeble tries to cut it back, still on his feet, got some blockers out front, looking for a key block, headed down the sideline. He may score, and you know what? Quarter number 1 was a disaster, but quarter number 2 is showing to be a positive quarter. There is a flag on the field, way upfield. I don't know what the flag is about. We'll have to wait and see. So hold everything. That's Keeble with the run back for the touchdown, but we're going to have to see what this flag is about up at about the 32-yard line. Well, maybe the first quarter isn't over yet. What do you know? It looked pretty anyway. We'll take a look at it again. Had it right at the goal line, so it would have been a 99-100-yard touchdown run. And we'll have to see where this clip comes in. Probably right there. That's probably where they threw the flag. So it negates the most positive play of the night for the Hawthorne Cougars. Take the 6 off the board, and they will have to start deep in their territory, trailing 13-0. But it is the second quarter, so let's see if we have better results for the Hawthorne Cougars. So they march it back. Had the ball for 2 possessions in the first quarter. First possession, a penalty and a fumble but the defense held, and Port Hueneme was not able to score. Second possession, they had a positive run by Lamar Keeble, but the drive stalled. Hawthorne was forced to punt, and then Port Hueneme took it into the end zone for the second score. So they put it into play, 1st and 10 for the 19. And the handoff on first down. And getting a good couple of yards. That's Billy Mitchell on the carry. Billy Mitchell plays linebacker, and obviously he can carry the ball. Second down and about 5 for Hawthorne. And here he comes again. Lamar Keeble. Lamar Keeble putting his head down and gets the first down. So Lamar Keeble had the touchdown call back, but refusing to give up, and gets the first down around the left side. 1st and 10 for the Hawthorne Cougars. And a big block there, thrown by Isal Velasquez. Isal Velasquez with a key block. Very rarely do you get to mention those offensive linemen unless they do something bad. Well, when they throw a nice block. But here, speaking of offensive linemen, the snap is fumbled. Port Hueneme says they have it. Hawthorne says they have it. And the officials say Port Hueneme has it. So the Hawthorne Cougars have yet to get the offense on track. Third possession of the night leads to their second fumble on 3 drives. Of course, you throw in the 100-yard kickoff return that's called back for a clip. And it seems just when they do something good, something bad happens. And now Port Hueneme has it 1st and 10 from the Hawthorne 40. And they already lead 13-0, and they are a team that can run the ball very well. 3 backs in the backfield, Taylor and the Lee brothers. And they give it to Tamar Lee. Tamar Lee trying to go left side. And it'll be brought down after about a 3-yard gain. 10:45 to go now, second quarter. Tamar Lee and Leslie Lee, both seniors. And Dwayne Taylor, the other feature back. As Larry Miller has respect for the pass, and as you can see, they do have the ability to pass the ball, but the running game is the strength of the Hueneme offense. Second down and about 7. 3 backs in the backfield again. Rush coming up the middle. This time it's Dwayne Taylor. Taylor trying to get to the outside, has a little steam, has the first down, and gets it out of bounds right at about the 25, 26-yard line. So they were trying to close the gap up the middle that time, but good running by Dwayne Taylor as he got to the outside. See, they were sending people up the middle. And the nice pull block there by Chris Haynes. That's about the second time tonight we've mentioned him on a positive block. And it helps bring Dwayne Lee for the first down. It's 1st and 10. Ball at about the 26 for the Vikings. And straight up the middle this time, Dwayne Taylor. Taylor with a burst of speed. He gets about 9 yards. Close to a first down on that carry. Now under 10 minutes to go, second quarter. Port Hueneme Vikings. 4th drive of the night. Heading for their possible 3rd score. Second down at about a half-yard. 2 backs in the backfield. They may elect to fake it. No, they'll just keep it on the ground and elect to get the first down, which they do have. And a little contact after the run. As you can see, Leslie Lee is the man who carried. Samode Naha for Hawthorne. Looked like a little post-ball contact, but nothing called. And it's 1st and 10 for the Port Hueneme Vikings. Ball at about the 19-yard line. James Swain has seen his offense self-destruct tonight. Defense is being asked to do a lot of big things. They did it on the first attempt, but keep being forced to stop them from deep in their territory and staying on the field for most of the half. It's not a good sign. And they hand the ball off this time. Julian Gooden with the second carry, and Julian Gooden with good yardage has the first down, and he's thrown out of bounds. Flag coming in late. He's thrown out at about the 5, and they may call something against Hawthorne. He was thrown down rather hard. And we may get a personal foul against the Hawthorne Cougars, which will take it about half the distance to the goal line. So right now, the flavor of the night for the Hawthorne Cougars not very sweet. Some bad mistakes, bad penalties on the offense. And the defense being asked to come up big. But you can't keep them on the field all night. Can't keep asking them to come up with miraculous stops. Begin to get a little tired. Well, I guess we've got a call against both teams. Personal foul call on the defense and the offense, so it'll offset the first down. Will stand. It'll be a first and goal. There's Julian Gooden with it. And they have spotted the ball at about the 5-yard line. So Port Hueneme knocking on it again. Alan Pinedo been under pressure a few times. Of course, he had the situation where it looked like he was wrapped up and handed the ball off, and they handed off this time to Lee. Lee getting about 2 yards, so get it down to the 3-yard line. Of course, that's one of the key plays in the ball game right now, that play in the first quarter, when it looked like Bo Cajo had him wrapped up for a sack. In the grasp, forward progress stopped, but he was able to get the ball off on the pitch to Leslie Lee, who took it down the sideline for a big first down. And if Hawthorne gets that sack, more than likely they are way out of field goal range. Here's the second and goal from the 3. 3 backs in the backfield. And here is Lee, going to be met right at the line of scrimmage, going nowhere. So the wall of defenders come up to meet him that time. Hawthorne knows that with the score 13-0, just a couple of ticks under 8 minutes to go second quarter, if they give up any more points in this first half, it is going to be a very long opening ball game. Big stop up the middle that time. Defense anticipating well. 3 backs in the backfield. They figured on the right person. So third and goal. Ball right at about the 3-yard line. And this is a big play. Hawthorne Cougar defense being asked to come up big. Alan Pinedo. He's going to throw. Takes the short drop. Now he fakes the throw. And it's intercepted. The ball is intercepted. It's picked off in the end zone. Alan Pinedo had the ball intercepted by Salim Stevens. Salim Stevens with a big INT. And we'll have to see if this one will hold up or if there's not a flag on the field. Well, there is a call. The call will go against Port Hueneme as it starts to mist here in Hawthorne. Mist falling against the lights. So the interception will stand. It's Stevens with the big interception. And Hawthorne Cougar defense was asked to come up big, and they did. On the play, face mask charge against Port Hueneme. Here it's Pinedo, a little indecisive. Looked like he had a wide open lane to run it if he elected. Throws it off into coverage. And Salim Stevens, the senior, coming up with the big defensive play of the night so far to deny them the end zone. Clock stopped. Defensive coordinator now over talking on the sideline as the offensive coordinator for Hawthorne will come out. And we'll try to see if their offense can string something together positively. They have shown some good signs of life, but just when they do something good, they kind of shoot themselves in the foot. Had a couple of long runs by Lamar Keeble tonight. Of course, the kickoff return of 100 yards called back on a clip, which got them on the board. And when all is said and done, it is only 13-0. A touchdown and a 2-point conversion makes it a whole new ball game. Still plenty of time. As we mentioned before, the interception, that is stop that Hawthorne had to make. But they were in the shadow of their own end zone with Eric Mwala in there at quarterback, going to hand it off. And getting it out of the shadows. That's Billy Mitchell on the run. So we've seen Billy Mitchell used on the offense a couple of times. It'll be a second down and about 3. Middle of that field. Looks like the Jets, Giants, Rams, and Packers have played on it. So it's hard to see all of the yard markers. This time it's Mitchell again, and he's going to be wrapped up almost right in his tracks, not going very far. 6:35 to go in the first half, 13-0. Favor of the Port Hueneme Vikings, all 13 points in the first quarter. Scoring their last touchdown at the last play of the first quarter, a disastrous one for the Hawthorne Cougars. Third down and about 2. This is a big third down play, I formation in the backfield. Kingsley Echema is the deep back. Mwala, the senior, experienced senior, in there at the QB. And they hand it off to Echema. Echema looking for the first down, and he may have it. Kingsley Echema picks up the first down. He is one of the 4 captains, standing at 170 pounds. Drive continues for the Hawthorne Cougars. Hawthorne 1-1 on the year. First game on the road, they lost to St. John's Bosco. Last week, they shut out Harvard Westlake 43-0. And they ran the ball very well last week, too. This time, Echema is met in the backfield and thrown for a loss.
Yeah, we're down here on the sideline. I'm here with the players of Hawthorne, and I'll tell you, it's starting to sprinkle pretty heavy. We're getting a big mist down here, which is maybe going to change this game a little bit, and we'll get it there. Goodbye, back to you, Dave.
Well, we thought Ken was going to say something. You can hear him, I can't, so I'm just trying to read his lips there, basically. Second down and long, Waller to throw. Got a man out there deep, and it's overthrown. Incomplete pass intended for Daniel Philpott. So Philpott down the right sideline. He's off on the pattern. It's going to bring up a third and about 13 at the 5:15 mark of the first half. And more than likely, passing situation for the Hawthorne Cougars. Not to throw a lob in the direction of the team that plays a little south of here, but unlike the other team that we cover that plays south of here, the Hawthorne Cougars can pass the ball on occasion. But not on a play like that, as the ball is ruled live. And they come close to having it down in the end zone for safety. Lamar Keeble able to recover, and he's whacked hard. So again, another drive for the Hawthorne Cougars that starts fairly well, ends in disaster. And in fact, I believe it is a safety. Yes, we'll have to take a look at this one again. I believe they have put 2 points up on the board. Didn't see the safety signal given, but it looked like he recovered that fumble in the end zone, so it's a choice. Do you give up 2 points or do you give up 6? So there it is, 15-0. And nothing going right on the offense tonight for the Hawthorne Cougars. 15-0 on the safety. Third down and deep, trying to throw it off on the right, obviously, to get Lamar Keeble out there by himself, and pass was thrown way hard. Keeble not able to catch it, and they rule that a fumble and not an incompletion. Now that an interesting call right there, because it looked to me like that was more of an incomplete pass than a fumble, unless they ruled it was a lateral. Unless they rule he was in a position where he was behind the quarterback for a couple of yards, so it's ruled a lateral, in which case it's a free ball with him not able to hold on. But it was ruled a fumble. He recovers in the end zone, and he's down for the safety, making it 15-0. So Hawthorne will have to kick it off, and Port Hueneme will get the ball again. There's the deep kick. And it looks to be Lee on the run. Lee with an opening. And Lee is brought down at about the 40-yard line. And Port Hueneme will be in business 40 yards away from the end zone. Already leading 15-0, courtesy of 2 touchdowns and a safety. Just under 5 minutes now to go in this first half. You can see the kick again. Three backs in the backfield. Same backs that have been there for the whole half. And this time they give it to Tamar Lee. Tamar Lee still on his feet. And he's going to be taken down at about the 32-yard line, close to first down. Flag will come in late. This past couple of plays has been a little hitting after the bell. A little nudging and poking. And we'll see which way this one will go. Obviously, the Hawthorne Cougars have got to be somewhat frustrated. Defense has been asked to come up big all night. This is the 5th time the Port Hueneme Vikings have had the ball. And as you can see, that call going against Hawthorne, unsportsmanlike conduct, 2 calls. So do they mark it off 30 yards, or what happens here? Or just 15? They were close to the first down. And it's been a night, of course, where the offense has not been able to really get it on track in the first 4 possessions. For the defense, they had to come up big twice. This the 5th time. And of course, a penalty like this does not help the cause. 4:50 to go, 15-0. Game not totally out of reach. But second half could wind up being nothing but a scrimmage if the Hawthorne Cougars are not able to get themselves together. So penalties of frustration is going to lead to 1st and goal from right at about the 8 or 9 yard line, and it might lead to another touchdown. As that's Lee heading toward the end zone. They will not even touch him. And that quickly, it's 21-0. So 21 points on the board, 6 more on the 11-yard run. And it's not a good opening home ball game for the Hawthorne Cougars. Nobody near him. Defense has got to be tired at this point. Little bit of rain beginning to get harder here tonight. Here's a point after attempt. Victor Perez to kick. And again, can we get these conversions off without somebody jumping offside? The 1-point conversion, fellas. False start on the kicking team. Takes them longer to do these 1-point conversions than it does for them to score. So it'll back it up. It'll make it a little longer. And, of course, it's a factor because on their second touchdown attempt, they missed the point after because they had to kick it a little deeper. So if tradition holds, this time Hawthorne will jump off sides. Well, they don't. They get the kick away, and it'll be no good. So if nothing else, Hawthorne has stopped 2 1-point conversions, but it is still a 21-point lead. 4:39 mark to go in the first half. And an evening that held some promise for the Hawthorne Cougars has started out as a disaster. Defense being asked to come up big, and they came up big 2 times, but the offense has done nothing. They've shown signs of life, but whenever they do something positive, they kind of throw it into reverse, either a big penalty or a miscue. A couple of big fumbles, some penalties setting them back. And they have yet to crack the scoreboard, and 1 touchdown taken off on the clip. So the Cougar mascot, not supposed to show your face, got to pull that down. It's supposed to be a mystery. We don't want to know who you are behind there. Water starting to build up. Frustration starting to build up. Little unseasonable rain here in the Hawthorne area this first day of autumn. And flag sound on the kickoff. Can Lamar Keeble perhaps run another one back? This time it's going to be a call against the Port Hueneme Vikings. Port Hueneme will not get into league play for about another 2 weeks. Hawthorne Cougars will begin their Bay League play. Of course, 7 teams in the Bay League. They have a lot of league games to get through, and they will play their first league game next Thursday, right here against Culver City. And we will have that ball game on Channel 22. We have played Thursday night. And here's the kickoff with the rain beginning to get a little harder. Kick it away from Lamar Keeble, but he's able to get there. And this time Keeble still on his feet, trying to cut it back crossfield. Some nifty running, and he fumbles the ball. Fumbles the football. Port Hueneme's got it. Upfield, Lamar Keeble is about as disgusted as you'd ever want to see a player. It's Julian Gooden who recovered the fumble. Lamar Keeble is upfield about 20 yards, took his helmet off, threw it down to the turf. Going to see this one again. The field is probably getting a little wet. It was, the turf is not the best out there. It is definitely worn in the middle. I was down on the field before the game, but you can't blame this one on the wet field. It's just not protecting the loaf of bread. Ball knocked away from behind, and Gooden the one who comes up with it. Now we have a fumble as we get to live action. Ball fumbled by Port Hueneme. Hawthorne says they have it, and they might. So a little tit for tat here at the 4:14 mark of the second quarter. Port Hueneme taketh, and they giveth away on this increasingly rainy night. 21-0. 4:14 to go until halftime. Hawthorne Cougars receiving the ball after a fumble. They'll have it on their own 40-yard line. Trying to get the offense on track. Eric Moello, the quarterback, single back in the backfield. He'll throw it. It's Etchema. Kingsley Etchema takes it up to about the 47-yard line, good for a 7-yard gain. And at the same play that Lamar Keeble was not able to handle on the right side last time, that resulted in a fumble that he recovered in the end zone where he was down for the safety. This time Kingsley Etchema with the hands and gets the positive yards. 3:45 to go till halftime. Hawthorne Cougars would like to get something on the board before the end of this half. Everybody going out on the pass route. Moella looking downfield, and the catch is made by Lamar Keeble, but it's fumbled. Ball is loose again, but Hawthorne able to recover. Hawthorne Cougars recover. And that time they are bailed out big time. Terrell Wilson. He's on the team. He's a transfer to Hawthorne. Comes up big to save the drive. Been a tough first half for Lamar Keeble, having that one touchdown call back. And this would have really gotten to him, but had he fumbled this ball away. As you can see, fumbled on the tackle, but Johnny on the spot, Terrell Wilson. Now the ball is loose once more on the handoff. And they've had a couple of problems tonight. The exchange from center to quarterback for the Hawthorne Cougars. Some problems on that exchange. It'll be no gain. 2:30 to go till halftime. Hawthorne Cougars trying to get on the board. For the end of the half. Now go to the pitch. That's Echema. Echema going to be tripped up. Coming up to make the trip that time from the defensive backfield. It'll be a short gain, and it'll bring up a 3rd and 9. Exactly 2 minutes to go in the first half. 21-0 Port Hueneme over the Hawthorne Cougars. Single back in the backfield on the 3rd and long. Passing situation. He'll put it up. He'll put it up deep. Has a man out there and little contact, but there'll be no flag. Looking for Courtney Barton on the out pattern down the left side. He was well covered that time. Looked like Ronnie Lemos on the coverage. There with him all the way. And it'll bring up a 4th and 9, and with the ball at about the 31-yard line. 1:38 mark of the first half. The Hawthorne Cougars will go for it. Need 9 for the first down. They'd like to keep the drive going. And a timeout taken. Look like it'll be charged against Port Hueneme. That's their 2nd timeout of the half. So the clock was stopped. That wasn't the reason why they called the timeout. They called the timeout to get the defense together here, because this, of course, is a big play. Hawthorne gets the second half kickoff. So if they are able to get on the board here to end the first half, that would put them in decent shape for the second half. Last thing they would want here, if they do not score, last thing they'd want to do is give up more points. As this game started off with a little light mist as we got on, and a little heavier here tonight. Looks like it subsided somewhat. Could make it a little easier to play. We mentioned next week Hawthorne will get into the Bay League play, first league game. They will be playing Culver City. It'll be a Thursday ball game. And we'll have that game for you here on Channel 22. Right here, here's a big 4th and 9. Everybody going out. Fakes. Now he's going to try to run for the first down, looking for the first down marker. He's going to be close to it. And from where they're spotting it, it looks like Eric Mwala does have the first down. So everybody out on the pattern. And he picks up the first down. That'll keep the drive going. And the Hawthorne Cougars with some hope before the end of the half. And nobody really open. And he gets to the outside. Cameron Stevens with one of the key blocks, and now a stiff arm put on the defender. That stiff arm springs him for the extra yards that he needed to pick up the first down. 122. Look at Coach Swain. Hawthorne Cougars like to get on the board here at Howcap Field. A well-used Howcap Field. Of course, as most high school fields are, and the little mist and drizzle here tonight. A little cooler than folks have expected around these parts. We have had last week or so, it has been very warm and hot. And the next day or so, it's going to be a little unseasonably cool. Chance of some mist and rain. So here we go, 1st and 10. Back to throw. Gonna get it off, and it's intercepted. Intercepted by Gooden. Well, look at it this way. At least Port Hueneme didn't score. Yet. There is still 1:18 to go. Obviously a situation where nobody was open. Had to get rid of the football. But of course you want to put it in a place where nobody else can catch it, and it was not even a red jersey. Well, there were a couple of red jerseys deep, but not able to get it there. And that's Lee. Going to be strung out for short yardage. Takes it to about the 21-yard line. Clock will run as we approach a minute to go first half. Hawthorne has 3 timeouts. Port Hueneme has 1. And the Hawthorne Cougars losing an opportunity to get on the board before the half. Now at 50 seconds to go and the clock running. They must attempt to keep Port Hueneme off the board before this thing runs down. And we'll see if Port Hueneme will get bowls. 2nd down and about 9. And they're just going to hand it off. 30 seconds to go. We'll see if maybe Hawthorne will use a timeout. No, they're not going to stop the clock. And a little talking there and down on the ground. Leslie Lee. As the clock will continue to run, and that'll probably be the last play of the half. Hawthorne might have thought about taking a timeout to maybe see if they could force them to punt on 4th down, stop them and punt, maybe get one opportunity, but coaching staff electing not to do that, and first half will come to a close. So a disappointing half for the Hawthorne Cougars in their opening home ball game here in the light mist and rain of Hawthorne, California at Howcap Field. Visitors from Oxnard, Port Hueneme Vikings are leading the Hawthorne Cougars by a score of 21-0. We're going to come back with the start of the second half, which Hawthorne Cougar fans hope will be a better one, on Channel 22 right after this, so stay tuned. Welcome back to what has become a rainy night in Southern California here on this September 22nd, 2000. I'm Dave Marks, and I'm going to be joined in the second half by Ken Fine. It is 21-0. Hawthorne Cougars on the long end of a score. Port Hueneme Vikings from up in Oxnard have the lead. It was a disastrous first quarter. They got down 13-0. They gave up a safety and a touchdown in the second quarter. It's been a game of missed opportunities in the first half for the Hawthorne Cougars. And because of the fact that the rain was giving Ken Woodstock flashbacks from the Country Joe McDonald and the fish portion when it started to rain at Woodstock, we decided to bring him up and dry him off. And maybe the luck for the Hawthorne Cougars will change somewhat in the second half, Ken.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I was down there, and it just started to open up right around halftime. And we're back from halftime, but as you saw when they came in on the cameras, I mean, it's literally coming down cats and dogs. And I said, I don't know, I might get electrocuted by the mics, or I'm going to, have to swim up here and join you. And I said, well, I'll swim up here and join you. And now I'm up here in the nice dry tundra of the booth up here, and it's nice. But you can see the rain there. I mean, it's coming down good, and we're hoping that this will bring a good omen for our Hawthorne Cougars.
Well, the field, of course, now is really going to be a question mark because, as you can see, those dark spots on the field where they know here at Hawthorne that the field is going to have to be resodded. Unfortunately, it's not going to be done this year, and it is going to be tough sledding in the second half. Hawthorne with some big fumbles in the first half that stopped drives, led to scores. They had some bad penalties that they picked up. That a 100-yard touchdown run by Lamar Keeble that was called back due to a clip. Lamar Keeble with a big fumble where he was tackled in the end zone on the recovery for a safety. And it's been a frustrating first half for him. Every time Hawthorne shows a spurt, it looks like they take a couple of steps back. They had an opportunity to get on the board before the end of the half, but Eric Mwala, the experienced senior quarterback, threw an interception. So they are being shut out after shutting the opponent out last week. And if they want to go to 2-1, they will have to turn it around totally in the second half, and they have an opportunity to start it now.
Yeah, they're not that far out of this game. It's 21-0. They can still get back in. Their defense is doing a great job. Their problem is they've had some mishaps with fumbles, and that was 2 of them. And that's what hurt them.
As we start the second half. That'll be the run back. And it's Daniel Philpott on the run. Philpott's been used as a wideout. This time he runs the kickback. So the Hawthorne offense puts it into play, 1st and 10. And there you see Lamar Keeble, who has run well in spurts but has not been able to be consistent tonight. And he will have to have a big second half if the Hawthorne Cougars are going to make a comeback. The ball will be spotted right outside the 40-yard line, and they'll have 60 yards to go for pay dirt.
Well, I was down there on the field with Keeble, number 24, and I'll tell you, he is pumped up. He wants to get this offense going, but it's just not clicking.
In the backfield, and right on the first play, they're not able to handle it. Let's see, do they come up with it? First play from scrimmage, and I believe it is Port Hueneme with the ball. Can't start off any worse than that.
They just haven't. The quarterback has just not been able to keep his hands on the ball. The ball has been slipping out of his hands, and it's making the Hawthorne Cougars pay a big, big price. One time, two of these times, he's fumbled right in their own territory, and it's just killing Hawthorne.
And it's Perez that came up with the fumble that time, Victor Perez. So they need points, but not going to get them that way, and they're asking their defense again to have to come up big. They get it 1st and 10 from the 35-yard line. Pinata in there, Alan Pinata starting the second half at quarterback. He will hand it off to Tamara Lee. Tamara Lee to the outside, and he'll get about 5 yards as they string him out. That rain is coming down considerably harder.
Yeah, look at that audience. They're starting to cover up a little bit, get their coats on them. I think they wish they had umbrellas so that they could really cover up, because I'll tell you, it is. You can look out there at the lights, and it is coming down. Here's the replay. He's going to take that ball and cut around, and he just handed it off to the left, and number 8's going to run it off to the left, and he gets maybe about 5-6 yards before he goes down.
And the thing about the rain is they had predicted a possibility of drizzle, but I don't think anybody thought it was going to get this hard. It's still September. And the inside handoff, and running it down, it looked like that time Leslie Lee was the ball carrier. Yes, it was Leslie Lee. They mainly go to Dwayne Taylor, Leslie Lee, and Tamara Lee in the backfield.
Well, all Hawthorne can hope for is that the moisture assists them in their defense against the offense and hurts the Hueneme offense, where they can't hold on to the ball either. And maybe they can get a fumble off of them, because otherwise they're going to be in big trouble with not being able to score, and this would be their 4th touchdown ahead.
Thomas Broussard came out of the ball game on 1st and 10 for the Vikings. And it's Dwayne Taylor with the ball. Looks like they're going to throw him for a little bit of a loss, so they don't pick up the first down.
Well, I'll tell you, this is better than Monday Night Football, because I'll tell you, when you got the moisture going and the mud going and all this stuff, and he hands the ball off, look at him tuck the ball in. He's going to cut in. Oh, slipped there. Then he slips back. That's what affects you. The mud down in there, you can't get your foothold in there, and boom, the line comes in on you.
And also we get your and my jokes and not Dennis Miller's. How about that? Second down and about 4. One back in the backfield. This time they give it to the other Lee. Straight ahead, gets positive yards, and he is close to the first down. Almost right at the sticks. They may have to measure on this one. At the 9:34 mark, you see how wet it's getting out there. Someone on the Hawthorne sideline.
Now there's an umbrella. Here's the play. He's going to hand it off on the inside. He's going to cut right down the center. Takes that, gets a push from one of the Hawthorne players, and picks up the first down.
It's Billy Mitchell there on the hit. So at the 9:34 mark of the 3rd quarter, Hueneme Vikings getting the ball following the Hawthorne fumble. First play from scrimmage.
Well, they're a big, powerful team. They've got weight behind them, and they've shown their ability to run the ball tonight by just keeping it on the ground and running it and pursuing the runs around the left side, the right side, and down the middle.
First and 10. Same three backs in the backfield. They give it to Lee. Trying to get to the outside, looking for a block. And he's going to be brought down. Juan Batista out leading the block as Tamara Lee had to carry.
Well, that was good defense on the Hawthorne team side. They got in there, got one hit, and then the whole group of them came in and took him down. And didn't give him any yardage. You'll see this. He's going to try and find himself an opening off on the left. He's going to be pursued behind, but this one, he gets a hand on him, then he holds him back a little bit, giving Hawthorne's team a chance to get him.
And Momo Villamuanga was able to get in there, along with Terrell Wilson. Second down and about 6. And they're going to give on the handoff this time. Wayne Taylor. Wayne Taylor is going to be stacked up after he gets a couple of yards. He'll be a little short of the first down. Will bring up a third down and looks to be about 1.5 yards for the first down for Port Hueneme. Just about a yard.
Yeah, I'll have to say, Dave, this defense of Hawthorne's has really done a good job tonight. They're showing that they have potential for the years to come and that they can hold the line. The problem is they've been on this field a long time trying to hold this offensive line.
Well, they pitched a shutout last week, and they've been asked to come up very big. Tonight, here's a third and short. They're going to take it straight ahead. Lee will have the first down as they try to grab him by the jersey, but he will pick up the necessary yard and the drive will continue.
That's just pure old beef muscle, pushing that quarterback or running back right through the center. I mean, they literally opened up and just pushed through and gave him the yardage to get up against Hawthorne. I mean, you can't beat that. Here he goes. The beef is right in front of him, and then they've got him by the shirt and everything, and they just can't get him, and he gets in for that first down.
7:15 to go, third quarter. Port Hueneme knocking on the door again. Here, a strange play set up. It's not going to go very far.
Yeah, that play didn't fool anybody. It was just a little wide out pass, trying to get a run down the sideline. Didn't do much.
Salim Stevens on the stop there that time. Camera's getting a little wet.
Here's one of our great cameramen taking a nice shower there, trying to keep a little dry, but I don't think he's going to be dry tonight.
And he doesn't have the LA Dodger hat on tonight. So it needs to be that LA Dodger hat that's getting wet, because there right now their number for elimination is 3. They're going to end the night 6 games behind the New York Mets with a wild card spot. Mets already won tonight. Here's the handoff. And picking it up on the stutter step, heading toward the end zone. They're going to push him on in there. Looked like the tight end tried to push him in. That's Dwayne Taylor. And he got a little assist from his tight end, Anthony Garcia, tried to push him. He gets the first down. They'll keep him out of the end zone. But some good running.
Yeah, he takes this ball and runs it around. Look at the ability to shift. He shifts off, goes to the right, comes through, shifts left, takes it through, and gets down the yardage. I mean, just phenomenal running.
So he's already had 2 touchdowns. He had a 10-yard run and an 11-yard run for touchdowns. And they give on the handoff quickly to Leslie Lee. He's in there for the score at 6 more. And it's going to be 27-0 in favor of the Port Hueneme Vikings.
Yeah, it's real hard right now for this defense to get motivated and pumped, because they've been on this field a long time. Look at the people up here. They're just kind of enjoying this game. They're going, boy, it feels like I'm at, Chicago Soldier Field in a football game, but I'm actually here in Hawthorne, California, enjoying the rain and a football game.
Well, we were expecting a little drizzle, but not quite this heavy. As it's blocked, they'll now try to go for 2, but they won't get there. And the big hit made that time by Salim Stevens to deny the 1-point conversion. So they've denied the 1-pointers 3 times tonight, but They've been into the end zone enough times to make it 27-0 at 6:06.
Yeah, Celine's a great defensive back. He covers in and gets inside, and he also covers his pass receivers. But in this play, he gets into the kicker or the quarterback. But in that earlier in the earlier half, he also had an interception, which was spectacular, saving them from a touchdown.
So at the 6:06 mark to go of the third quarter, 27-0 in favor of the Port Hueneme Vikings, who are 1-1, losing to Arroyo Grande on the road and beating Huntington Beach on the road last week. They will play their first home game next week. It'll be a non-league game. They'll play against Lancaster. They're in Division 4 Pacific View League, and they get Lancaster in a non-league game. They don't get into their league for another couple of weeks. As a matter of fact, for them, their first league game doesn't come up until the 13th of October. They only have 4 league games, whereas the Hawthorne Cougars get into Bay League play next week, and they'll be here against Culver City, and we'll have that ball game for you. Culver City Centaurs and Hawthorne Cougars.
Yeah, that'll be a good game. I watched Culver City play last year, and I think that the Cougars are well balanced to go in and play a good game against them next week.
Now, for those of you who follow Lusinger, they are in action tonight. We saw them last week in a game against La Mirada that they lost. La Mirada having a big game passing. Running this back is Elgin Simmons. Elgin Simmons taking it straight ahead. And Hawthorne will put it in play 1st and 10. Talking about Lusinger for a second. They are 1-1. They're on the road tonight in a non-league game against Los Alamitos, and they will start their league play next Thursday against Miracosta. So Lusinger and Hawthorne will start league play. Next week we'll have Hawthorne and Culver City, but tonight there is a lot of wet road for Hawthorne to travel, trailing 27-0. They've had problems holding on to the ball, and let's see if they're able to get something going here in this third quarter. Mwala, well, we have a different quarterback now. Looks like they've changed up on the quarterback. Salim Stevens looked like he was taking the signals that time as they hand off for short yardage.
Yeah, I'd just like to say I wish Lusinger luck out tonight. I'm from that area in Lawndale, and we hope that they do well tonight, and we hope that Hawthorne can pull it out here tonight. This game isn't over yet.
Well, at this level, teams can put points up in a hurry. We've seen it happen before, but weather conditions not very favorable here tonight. Almost fumbled the snap there. Now he's going to have to try to make something out of a busted play. Getting some yardage downfield. He's into the open. He might go. How about this? Salim Stevens to the house for 6. And there's no flags on the field.
He knows he did good right there. I mean, that was spectacular. He did that play all by himself. I think it was a broken play. He saw that there wasn't anything else he could do but to take that ball and do it himself. And I think we're going to get a replay here, and you'll get to see that again. That was a spectacular run. This young man, he comes back, looks like he was maybe going to pass it, maybe going to do something with it. And then he just decided to keep it, and he's doing some cuts, and he cuts into the left, sees 2 guys left, and then he takes off. He's gone.
Well, the 2-point conversion attempt, Eric Mwala taking it in, and he's got 2. So Eric Mwala on that funny formation gets a 2-point conversion. 5:10 to go, and Hawthorne on the board. They've got 8 points, 27-8. And as we watched Stevens run, we're going to see, doesn't it remind you of a younger Randall Cunningham?
He's spectacular, shifting there, shifting gears. He cut over to the left and to the right, and then to the left and back to the right. He saw space right there, and that's where he starts to blow it open. Gets some great blocking by his offense on that. It just gelled together, and it looks like his legs just kind of gave out right there at the end. He did a long run there. That was about 60 yards.
Well, of course, they had the 100-yard return called back in the first half. And finally, the offense able to do something positive in the ball game. They've got 8 points. And they'll probably kick this one deep. Probably elect to just kick it deep. Courtney Barton is the kicker. He'll tee it up at the 40. 3 people deep for the Vikings.
Well, that's what they needed. They needed a touchdown at this point. This'll get their spirits up. They'll get ready to go. Hopefully we'll see some ball here now.
And they do kick it deep. And it'll be run back. Wayne Taylor on the run. And he's going to get it to about the 30-yard line. All in all, not bad coverage. Some flags coming in late. As during the first half, you were down on the field, Ken. Players kind of doing a little hitting after the bell, a little pushing, a little shoving, maybe a little talking.
Yeah, I saw players on both sides. They tackle, maybe give a little knee on the way up to the guy's helmet. You know, and you see that. And that's, you know, you're going to see a little bit of that. But they've got the pads. They got the helmet on. It's not going to really be that bad. If it gets rough where they call the penalties, then you're going to see the flags come out.
Well, the big guy that you saw there, Phil Fanon, he was a football standout during his day. As this call goes against Port Hueneme, it'll push him back, so break for the Hawthorne Cougars.
And there hasn't been a lot of penalties against Hueneme this game. It's been a lot against the Hawthorne Cougars, and so this is a big break for the Cougars.
4:28 to go in the third quarter. 27-10 in favor of the Port Hueneme Vikings. They had one touchdown in this quarter, and this clip sets them way back. They're going to put it into play right at about the 10-yard line. So it'll be 1st and 10. Alan Pinedo in there at quarterback all the way for the Vikings. Wayne Taylor and the Lee brothers, Leslie and Tamara Lee, in the backfield. And all three of them are lined up in the backfield again. Pinedo under center. Slips as he hands it off. Gets it to Dwayne Taylor, but Dwayne Taylor is not going to go very far. No gain, maybe a half a step on the play as he's met by the defense. And a good stand by the Hawthorne Cougars on first down.
They did real well there. It seems like the Cougars defensive team got a little bit of rest, and that touchdown gave them a chance that they think they might be able to pull this game. So they're being told by their coach, get out there, hold them here, let's get a kick. We'll get the ball around the 40, maybe 45-yard line, and we can score again. We're back in this game.
What they would probably love to get would be a turnover as it's second down and about 10 to go. Now some movement. This one will probably be a procedure call. Don't know if I saw anyone go into the neutral zone. Looked like Tolu Muwala moved a little bit on the defense. But that's going to be a false start, so that'll backport Hueneme up 5 more yards and make it 2nd and 15.
Yeah, defense is allowed to move a little bit, kind of entice the offense. And if the offense takes that and gets intimidated, they jump a little bit, and that's what happened there. And the offense for Hueneme jumped, and they took a penalty on that, and that helps the Cougars.
3:35 to go, third quarter. 2nd and 15. See if they'll go to a screen. Ball is fumbled. Still loose, rolling around on the ground. Who's got it? Safety. It's a safety. Hawthorne Cougars get 2 points as it's fallen on in the end zone. So in this third quarter, breaks coming up in favor of Hawthorne. Pete Naha, the junior, he's the one that fell on the ball.
This is great defense. The whole Hawthorne line pushed forward, attacked, and moved in on the player with the ball, and they literally caused that cough up, and they got the ball there. Big break.
So 2 points for the Hawthorne Cougars. They will get the ball. As obviously on the safety, Port Hueneme recovered in the end zone. Of course, if Hawthorne recovers, it gets 6. So turnabout is fair play. They had a safety scored against them in the first half on what was ruled a fumbled lateral. When Lamar Keeble was not able to handle it, he recovered in the end zone and he was tackled. 2 points went on for Port Hueneme here. 2 points for Hawthorne, making it 27-12.
Yeah, and the big thing about this is not only did Hawthorne get a safety, but Hueneme's going to have to kick the ball from approximately the 20-yard line, and that's going to give Hawthorne a big break.
They'll let it bounce. They've got to pick it up. And it's Keeble. Keeble looking for some room. And he's going to be downed right at about the 35-yard line. So they let it bounce and not able to get much out of it, but it'll be 1st and 10, 3:05 to go in the third quarter. And fans with the wet look.
That was a good kick by Hueneme. They pounded that ball out there, and Hawthorne took a little too long to take that ball and start it down the field.
Now we'll see who will be in there at quarterback on this drive. It looks like they're going to go to Salim Stevens again at the QB. And he hands off to the first back through. And on the handoff to Billy Mitchell. Billy Mitchell, Kingsley Etchema, and Lamar Keeble in the backfield. Short yardage for Mitchell, maybe about 2 yards. It'll bring up a 2nd and 8.
Yeah, I'll tell you, number 4, Salim Stevens, he's doing a spectacular job tonight. He's got an interception. They've pulled him in as a second-string quarterback. He's moving the ball. The thing is he's hanging on to it, and that's what Hawthorne's got to do.
And they give it to the back cutting through. There's a flag on the play. Lamar Keeble on the carry. We'll have to see what this flag is about. Going to be against the Hawthorne Cougars, probably a hold. A false start against Hawthorne. So that's going to make it down over 2nd and about 13.
That young man you just saw there, number 24, Keeble, there's a word for a guy like him, and it's called smoking. I was on the sideline in the first half, and I saw him come around that corner, and he literally kicks the speed up, and you see the smoke behind him as he goes by, and I mean, he is just a fast runner.
It's a Hawthorne Cougar team that is going to be able to compete this year, it appears, in the Bay League. Competition in the Bay League will be a little different for the most part than what they're seeing tonight. Here's the pass attempt, looking deep, throwing deep, and it's off the fingertips. Daniel Philpott off his fingertips. Stevens looking for him down the left side. He was out there, but just not able to run under it.
Yeah, that's a risky play. It's real wet. The ball's wet. Everything's wet. And you take a chance like that, but they're trying to get back in this ball game, and that was a risk that you got to take. It was a well-thrown ball. It was led the passer, but he just couldn't quite get his fingers on it.
And credit the offensive line for giving him some time that time, because they had, Hueneme had someone coming from the outside. Jarrett Levette, defensive back, was coming up from the safety position on a blitz there, and they were able to fend him off. Here's the 3rd down play. Has time, back to throw. Looking downfield again, and it's intercepted on the underthrow. Underthrown, and it's Gooden on the interception right at the midfield line. That ball was underthrown, and it leads to the pickoff, and with 1:20 to go in the third quarter, Gooden on the interception. Port Hueneme gets the ball back.
That was not what you wanted to do. You wanted to be careful. Maybe do a little short pass, but he got back there. He had plenty of time. He takes a look. The problem is he just overthrew his receiver, and bam, there was the Hueneme player way back in the deep field, and he picked that ball, and he was gone.
Looking for Monroe Alexander.
It could have been. He overthrew or underthrew. There was a Cougar receiver on both sides of the Hueneme player.
And someone down for Hawthorne right at the 48-yard line, being tended to here. Can't see the number at this point.
Well, I'll tell you, there's been some great players that have come out of this school, and they're playing. Some of them have graduated to the college ranks. You've got Jermaine Chapman, who played here at Hawthorne. He was a running back. He's now playing for Arizona. You've got Tavita Maula, who played for Hawthorne, and he was a linebacker. He's with Oregon State. And then you've got Joseph Ekema from Hawthorne. He was a running back. He's working for Cal. And then Terrell, he's at UNLV. So you got 4 players out there in college right now that are playing out there. So a lot of good players come out of this school.
And, of course, Joe Etchema, we remember from 2 years ago. His brother Kingsley on the field tonight, younger brother, both of them out of Nigeria. But with 1:20 to go, 27-12 is the score. in favor of Hueneme Vikings, and an injured player there for the Hawthorne Cougars. And we're waiting to find out who it is, and we hope it's nothing serious. But he's been down after the interception. And it's Jerry Coronado, the sophomore. He plays on the line, so he gets up. Coronado.
He'll be coming back hopefully for 2 more years and bringing some great play for this high school here.
Well, there was also a penalty, as you can see, called on the play that was declined. Hueneme will keep the ball following the interception here in the rain at Hawthorne. Unseasonably heavy rain for the first night of fall. 1st and 10 from their own 48. Alan Pinedo been in there all the way at quarterback. Same 3 backs in the backfield. Leslie Tamara Lee and Dwayne Taylor. A little confusion there on the exchange, and Pinedo will be wrapped up quickly. He'll lose a few yards.
Yeah, that's what you want to see. You see your defense is still holding the line. They're still keeping them going. This game is still going in the favor of the Cougars. You don't want to lose that momentum. And so far, they haven't seen it go the other way. And as long as their defense is playing good, they're in good shape.
It's going to bring up about a 2nd and 17. 50 seconds to go now in the 3rd quarter. Putting Hueneme into passing situation, unless they elect to go to the inside handoff. 3 backs in the backfield on the wing T formation. And they'll keep it on the ground as Taylor tries to get to the outside, bounces off a few people, carries some with him, and he'll get a couple of yards out of what could have been nothing as a flag comes in late. And we'll have to see, was there not a late hit on the play?
Yeah, it's going to hurt the Cougars. You don't want to give them any opportunity to get, it went against Hueneme, so it's a break for them.
So that's going to back them up. It was 2nd and 17. They may decline it and make it third. It'll make it 3rd down in about 12 or so. At this point, with 23 seconds to go, 3rd quarter, Hawthorne needs possessions.
Well, I'll tell you, I'd most likely take the penalty, get them and take them and push them back. You want to keep them going back, get them as far away from that 1st down flag as you can, because the thing is, if they even get close, they're up at the 42 of your own side of the field. So you want to get them back. That way they have to kick, and hopefully you get the ball in good territory and you can score fairly quick, because we still have a whole quarter of game left.
Well, James Swain thought the way you did. They took the penalty at 2nd down and many yards, and they will try to throw on a slippery field. They get the short one off. And running it out of bounds is Leslie Lee. Leslie Lee gets some of the yardage back that they lost. There'll be exactly 2 seconds to go in the quarter. And it's going to be 3rd down and about 15 to go for the 1st down.
Yeah, see, this play is going to pick them up about maybe 12 yards. If they would have taken the down, yes, they would have had the down, but these guys would have been about 4 or 5 yards off of 1st down. They may have gone for it. So that was a good call, and they kept them back, and now they've got about 15, 16, maybe 17 yards to go for a 1st down. That's a long ways to go.
Last play of the 3rd quarter. And they get off a high punt. It'll be fumbled. Who's got it? Let's see. I believe they are saying Hawthorne has the ball. Nothing official. And it is Hawthorne.
I'll tell you, they got lucky there. I mean, that ball was anybody's ball. He dropped it right there in the dirt. And I'll tell you, you've got to be careful when that's happening. Watch this. He kicks it real high. It's wet. You want to be careful. If you're not sure you're going to catch that ball, you want to let it drop. But he tries to catch it. He gets underneath him, and boom. And that player was right on it. Thank goodness the long arms of that one player got in there and pulled it in.
So 3 complete from Hawthorne. It is the Port Hueneme Vikings 27, Hawthorne Cougars 10. And by virtue of a touchdown and a safety for Hawthorne, and they've got 12 minutes to try to do something about it.
Well, that was James Swain in the orange coat there. He's all decked out and ready to handle the weather. He's supporting his team and making sure they do the right thing. He's doing a good job for his first year here. He's got a ways to go, but I'll tell you, he's going to have good teams out here, and Hawthorne will again be a powerhouse in the South Bay.
I think they should probably be able to compete fairly well in the Bay League. Of course, Bay League play starting next week in Peninsula, one of the top-rated teams predicted in the preseason polls. Miracosta also predicted to do well, losing her Olympians. They got some raves in the preseason. Saw losing her last week. Of course, the question for losing her is, what will they do when you force them to have to pass?
Yes.
That's something we'll be dealing with in a couple of weeks when we do another one of their ball games. Here's Etchema on the carry. Kingsley Etchema for short yardage.
Well, even if they didn't get a passing game, if they could just get a kicking game, I mean, that would assist them in when they got down into territories to get the field goals. And that's our weak points in a lot of our teams out here in the South Bay. There's not much of a kicking game. I haven't seen Hawthorne do much kicking here, and that's if they can get into close to the end zone, kicking will help you.
Rufus Washington, our regular commentator here, asked last year, is there anybody in one of these schools that knows how to kick? Come on out for the team. Here's Etchema again. Short yardage. He's going to get it up to about the 35-yard line. Will be short of the first down. Into the fourth quarter, 11:10 to go.
I'll tell you, back when I was in high school and they were playing football, kicking was a big game. We had a kicker, and he could kick maybe 30, 35 yards and just pound that kick up. And that's what we need here is to key one of the soccer players or whatever in some of these schools and get them out there for kicking, because I'll tell you, we should have some good kickers out here.
Well, yardage being marked off on the penalty going against the Hawthorne Cougars. And this sets them back. So Hawthorne with a little bit of life on the long run by Salim Stevens, getting them on the board, and then of course the safety. And now they've got 10 yards to go on 2nd and 10 following the penalty. Gonna look to put it in the air. It's Stevens. Not able to run for very much. Flag comes in, looks like he was hit out of bounds, so they'll tack some extra yards on here.
Yeah, they got him on a late hit, so it looks like they're going to get a few yards and move it back up the field, which will help them.
Salim Stevens came in for Eric Mawala, who had his problems, especially with the fumbles getting the exchange and snap from center.
Yeah, he's looking for a receiver. All his receivers are covered. He's got nobody to go to, so he decides to try and cut it up. He's going out of bounds right there, and there's a late hit.
Good call there by the officials. It's going to give Hawthorne a first down.
That's a big bonus for Hawthorne. They need that. They need to get that ball down the field because time is running, you know, late in this game. You got 10 minutes and 57 seconds, and they've got to get a score here pretty quick.
Ball on the 38-yard line. Hawthorne's own 38. Stevens takes him up to the line. Go to the air, and that one's knocked down. He's looking for Kingsley Etchema there on the left side, but right into the line, smacked down. It'll be second down.
Yeah, you got to be careful there. That one was almost intercepted. I mean, you had two defensive linemen right there in his face, and he threw the ball right up in front of him, and they basically knocked it down. Here it is. He's going to be right there, and two guys right there. He gets a hand up. I mean, all he would have had to do is pull that ball down, and he was clear and wide open.
And that's Jarrett Levetts for Hueneme. 2nd and 10. So if they'll cross him up with a run. They want to go to the air again. They want to go deep. Somebody out there, and it's knocked down. Double coverage on the play. Tamara Lee, one of the people getting there. Tamara Lee playing deep center field. And it'll bring up a 3rd down and 10.
That ball was right there. This was a great toss. Watch this. He lines up, sets, boom, fires that ball out. It's coming down right to his receiver. Watch it as it comes right down. His receiver slows down. It's there. It's a catchable ball. He just didn't get it. I mean, that was catchable.
Looking for Courtney Barton, covered that time by Dwayne Taylor and Tamara Lee. 3rd and 10. And there's that play again, and this time it is ruled an incompletion or a fumble. Looked like they may rule it a fumble on the lateral, and same man, Lamar Keeble, not able to hold on.
And you got to be careful when you lateral that ball back or pass it back, because that's a fumble area. That is not a pass. That is going to make it legal if it falls on the ground to be picked up like it was prior.
So at the 10:15 mark of the 4th quarter, the drive stalled for Hawthorne, and the little momentum they had looks like it has dissipated, and Courtney Barton is going to be back in punt formation. So they'll have to kick this one away. Hawthorne trying to make sure they have enough men on the field. Samote Naha running off quickly. And they're going to fake this. They'll try to get the 1st down. He's going to have to put it up, and he doesn't get it. It was thrown into a good area. Had just enough on it, but Elgin Simmons not able to hold on. They had to try to gamble at this stage in the ball game, but the gamble comes up short, and Port Hueneme will get the ball in good field position with 9:45 to go.
That's a risky play. You decide, hey, let's try and move it down the field. We've got very little time, and that's what you got to do. He tosses that ball, but the ball is just tipped, and that stops it from getting into the player's hands. Great defense on Hueneme's team side.
1st and 10 for Hueneme from the 35. Hand it to Tamara Lee. Tamara Lee, short yardage. We'll just get about a yard on the play. And we're going to have a holding call going against the Vikings. So it'll look like the hold there on the outside. I think it was running back Dwayne Taylor that held. So to back them up, it'll be 1st and 10. 9:40 to go in this 4th quarter. Ball at the 45-yard line. Port Hueneme 13 points in the 1st quarter. They've only had 6 here in the 2nd half. They led 21-0 at the half. And they hand it off. And still on his feet for the good yards, Wayne Taylor. Wayne Taylor was almost met in the backfield, but able to get away, and he gets the penalty yards back. It'll bring up 2nd and 10.
Yeah, that was a great run. Watch him. He'll pick the ball up. It looked like he's going to be caught in the backfield because right there, but he comes in, gets hit. You're going to watch him spin around. He spins around. That's what you want to do. You got to keep the ball moving forward. When you get hit, you do that twirl and go. You see that a lot in the professional sports. Very good runner there.
2nd and 9 for the Vikings. Clock continues to run, 8:45. Handed off to Leslie Lee. Leslie Lee for short yardage. Time on the side of the Hueneme Vikings. It'll bring up a 3rd and about 7 for the 1st down.
Well, you kind of look at this team, this Hawthorne team. Look at that! Look at that crowd out there. This is a school that supports their team. I mean, that's great. I mean, from up down there on the field, Dave, I'd look up. There's a lot of people here. A lot of people.
And the rain seems to have subsided. Here's a big 3rd down play. They try to keep it on the option. And Pinedo is not going to go very far. Short yardage. He keeps it on the option. We'll bring up a 4th down. Now 7:50 to go in this 4th quarter.
As I was saying earlier, this team is a young team. You've got a new coach. He's been a defensive coordinator. And now he's the head coach. You've got a lot of young players on here, and they're all kind of filling their way. And they may have a rough season this year, but next year they're going to be there.
Going to go for it on 4th down here, 4th and about 6. He'll look to throw, and he surrendered.
Oh, yeah.
Salim Stevens with the slam. And that ends the drive. Hawthorne Cougars will take over on downs.
Stevens just literally came right through the line and lit him up. Hopefully we'll get to see this here. He just comes in, he's not paying attention, and it's where 4 meets 4, and he slams him into the turf. I mean, what a play.
Salim Stevens coming up from the linebacker spot to make that play. 7:21 to go. Hawthorne Cougars have the ball on the Hueneme 38-yard line. Actually more like the 37. And trying to get to the end zone for the 2nd time in the half, make it a little closer. And Stevens. Actually, they go back to Moala at quarterback. He'll give it to Keeble. Keeble down the sideline, and he's out of bounds at midfield. So Eric Moala back in there at quarterback now and gives it to Keeble on the first play, and Lamar Keeble with a big run.
He just ran out of field. I mean, but he was ready to go all the way down like he did on that one run earlier in the game that got called back. Watch this. He just ignites. I mean, the speed. Look at the arms. They're pumping. He's going. He's cutting that corner. He doesn't even look to see who's coming around to get him. He's just going. And this is why he's such a good running back. Look at the legs.
That's why he's one of the team captains. Is Moala going to take it straight ahead to midfield? Short yardage. They picked up the 1st down on that last carry. It'll bring up about a 2nd and 8 for Hawthorne. 7 minutes to go in the ball game.
That's a rough feeling. You get wrapped up around the legs. When a guy gets his arms around your legs and just wraps you up, there's no way to go but down on the floor. But he got the 1st down there, it looks like, or a couple of yards, and it looked like he did well. Watch him. He'll just wrap him up here, right on the legs.
So Moala comes out. Salim Stevens is going to be back in at QB on this play. Receivers to both sides, single back in the backfield. Rush coming up the middle, eludes the rush. Going to try to run it for positive yards, stays on his feet. And he does not get the 1st down, but it's amazing that he was able to hold on to the ball after he took that hard hit. And he's down at right at about the 46-yard line.
He took some heavy hits there. You could see he got up real slow, and he's feeling it. But, boy, that was a great effort on his part. Watch him. He'll come back. He's looking to pass, but there's nothing there. So he's looking again. And then he says, hey, I've got to cut it up. He beats that defensive player, but there he takes a big hit. Boom. And, I mean, that was literal, you know, a tough hit right there.
Well, at the 6:04 mark, Hawthorne takes their 1st time out of the 2nd half. Time is not on their side. They need to score on this drive to get it a little closer, and they would need a 2-point conversion.
Well, a lot of people expected Hueneme to come in here and just clean Hawthorne's clock. They have not done that tonight. This game is not far apart. 27-10 is not a slaughter here. And Hawthorne's shown they've got ability. It's just not all on all the cylinders. And if this team meets again with this team, if they did this year, later on in the year, I think it would probably be a lot closer game.
Yeah, it was just basically the inability of the offense to overcome some of the big fumbles and some of the mistakes. And, of course, as something I mentioned last week on the broadcast, losing Alam Murata, not to make excuses for any of the teams, but in the NCAA and at the high school level, you don't get preseason. In the pros, you do. This is why people don't like preseason games in the NFL, but this is why they play them, so that you work out these kind of kinks. But here you get your scrimmages. You're allowed to practice since the middle of August, but you know, there's nothing beats real competition. But these all count. They don't count against your league record, but they do count against your overall record. Fakes the handoff. Got some blocking. If he can get someone open downfield, going to lob it, and it's complete. The ball is complete to Thurman Broussard. Big Thurman Broussard is the eligible receiver, and he's got the big 1st down.
Big tight end, man. I mean, that guy's giant, man. The ball comes over. Nobody was as tall as he was. He grabbed the ball, and he said, oh, I got the ball. I'm going to run with it.
I don't think anybody was checking him.
Watch,
as
here
they
it
say
is.
in the street.
Gets a good block here. Then he comes over, takes a look again. He's going to take, and he sees Broussard open, tosses it to him. He's so tall that there's nobody that can compete with him, but he's just so big he doesn't have the speed.
Now they're going to lob one out there, and it's underthrown and intercepted. Ball is intercepted on the underthrow. He was looking for Courtney Barton, and I think it's Gooden again that got the interception. Gooden plenty tonight. So it's Julian Gooden on the INT. That's about his third of the night.
Here's that play. The ball's underthrown. His receiver's a little far out, and all he can do is take that player down.
5:31 to go. The drive will stop. And we mentioned this is the third non-league game. They call it preseason, but it does count for your overall record. It doesn't count against your league record, which, of course, you need to get into postseason. But this is one of those games that Hawthorne will be glad is not a league game. So they'll have another week to adjust and get ready for Culver City. Hueneme back to the offense. That's Dwayne Taylor on the handoff. Some tough yards. And
Well,
he's been a tough runner tonight.
you know what? There are a lot of powerhouse teams down here in the South Bay. You got Peninsula, you got Miracosta. You've got these teams that have been playing in here. And I'll tell you, thanks to Channel 22 here, which I've gotten an opportunity to work with, we're bringing these games to you, which is bringing more of the people out in the cities and everything and getting a chance to see our teams here, which is really good. And hopefully a lot more people will get interested, support their teams, and the teams will again be powerhouses like they were.
Second down and about 9 here. Pinedo's been in there all the way, and they give it up to middle. Looks to be Tamara Lee. No, that time it was a Gooden with the handoff. They reward him. He played well on the defense, and Julian Gooden getting a chance to carry. He's been on both sides of the ball tonight, picking up the first down for the Hueneme Vikings.
Here's the play, hands off. He's going to cut it down. He gets some good blocking inside, and he sees some daylight, and he's going to run it down there for probably about 8 to 10 yards.
4:27, clock running. First and 10 for Hueneme. They will keep it on the ground. Hawthorne will think about trying to tackle the football. As Taylor gets another carry. Actually, it was Gooden again, excuse me.
And there's an enthusiastic fan up there high in the stands. She's waving out to her friends and the audience out here.
As the rain has stopped, as you can see.
Yeah, you can see the freeway out from this stadium. It's, you know, beautiful view out here. Nice evening for football.
Yes, when we do games here at Hawthorne, we are actually indoors. When we do them at Lusinger, we are outside. And it's a good thing this game wasn't done at Lusinger tonight, or we would have all been in a little bit of trouble. Lusinger has a nice field, but of course we do games in the open when you're down there at Olympian Field.
Well, hopefully, though, with some of that school money that they got, they'll build us a nice booth out there.
Well, I thought our director, Tom Strickfaden, was going to have them build, get the hammer and the nails out and have them start, you know, dumping away. He goes, this disturbs me. We need a little something.
Hey, Tom's done a great job with this program, Channel 22. Some of the special effects you see and all that. Really, really doing a great job, the staff and everybody here.
Wayne Taylor doing a good job picking up the extra yardage on coming after the penalty. Clock runs, 3:13 to go. Hawthorne can stop it 2 more times. And looks like they're going to stop it here for the second time. If nothing else, of course, they'd want to stop the Hueneme drive and at least get another shot on offense. The winning the game at this point is just about out of reach, barring a major miracle or mess up on the part of the Hueneme Viking. They would need to fumble a couple of times and have it run in. It's possible, but not likely with 3:12 to go. Hawthorne will go to 1-2 on the young year, and they will start the Bay League next Thursday against the Culver City Centaurs, a game which will also be very competitive.
Going to have some fun out here, and we hope you're with us next week, and you can watch some more football with us.
I hope so too, as the jerseys start to get dirty. The white jerseys of Port Hueneme. They've played well tonight. Up there in Division 4, and they are in the Pacific View League, where they are predicted to do well. Speaking to their coach before the ball game, Larry Miller, he says, yes, they are one of the favorites in their league and expected to do well in Division 4, but he said preseason polls and rankings don't mean much to him. Says it's got to do it down on the field, and of course he did it in his day at Port Hueneme and at Fresno and playing in the CFL. Here's a handoff to Dwayne Taylor. Taylor down the right side. He'll take it close to a first down, and it's usually at this point of a ball game that you see a player such as that break one long. I mean, just to kind of put a capper on it. It kind of wouldn't surprise me if Port Hueneme does break something, even though the game appears to be well in hand. It's the defense is a little tired, of course, and usually as we approach the 3-minute mark, you see a team like a Hueneme just kind of put a capper on the ball game. As they, of course, will keep it on the ground. No need to go to the air. And this is Lee. Lee going to be met in the backfield this time by Kingsley Etchema.
Well, I could sit here and sing, the party's over, but I don't have a voice. But it looks pretty much like the game's
Country Joe
done.
and the Fish music?
Yeah.
You know some of that?
I
Up
mean,
on Cripple Creek or Fixing a Die Rag or something?
Hueneme's come in here, and this play right here kind of says it all. They've just kind of pounded the ball until they got the fumbles. The 3 fumbles that hurt the Cougars.
2nd and 10, 2:15 to go. And Dwayne Taylor met right at the line. Clock is stopped, and I believe Hawthorne is going to take their last time out. Yes, they do. That's their 3rd and final with 2:08 to go. They want a chance to get the ball perhaps one more time as the defense comes in to string it out here. Well, next week in the Bay League, the action starts for real. Lusinger will be playing their first Bay League game next week. They'll be playing against Miracosta.
Ooh, that'll be a good one.
And it'll be at Lusinger. No, check that, at Miracosta on a Thursday night. And then, of course, Hawthorne against Culver City on Thursday. Beverly Hills will be playing Redondo at home. Redondo, of course, into the Bay League this year on the league realignment. Peninsula will be at West Torrance. So interesting things next week as the Bay League gets underway for real. Of course, the changes in the league, Redondo and West Torrance are in. Inglewood and Santa Monica are out. They've gone now down to their Ocean League Division 6. So West Torrance and Redondo teams that are going to be fairly competitive. And it's going to be an interesting league. Overall, they'll be in Division 3, which means that they will not see a Diamond Bar or Glendora or someone like that in the playoffs. But they will see some other tough teams in Division 3. It's going to be no picnic for teams that get in the postseason. Inside handoff. And Dwayne Taylor is going to be brought down. He'll be way short of the first down. And this will be 4th down, now under 2 minutes to go, 1:55 and running.
And that was a good defensive play by number 1. He got one of his shoelaces, I think, and pulled him down, kept him from breaking that one wide open.
It's Eric Mawala on the stop. Hueneme will have to punt, so the Hawthorne Cougars, if nothing else, will get the ball one more time and a chance to do a little something.
And a great cheerleading squad that's for this team.
Another high punch. They punted well tonight. Mishandled, but they will be able to take over.
Well, I tell you, I've been in the city of Lawndale for 14, 15 years, and I remember when we used to watch football games back then. And I'll tell you, Channel 22's come a long way. They've got great picture here. The coverage is beautiful. I mean, they have moved a long way in the coverage of a football game. The special effects, everything. And that goes to show you the people who are running the show behind the scenes. You and me, we're up here in the front and we're speaking and everything. But I'll tell you, all the crew from Channel 22, hey, you guys have done a great job out there. I mean, it's
they
phenomenal.
certainly do. It's Moala back in there. Now they're going to try something a little fancy. Stevens looked like he wanted to throw it. Instead, he's going to run. He'll get some positive yards, but that's not what they had in mind. Stevens wanted to throw that ball downfield.
If you saw his head a little bit, he was shaking his head trying to confuse the defensive players, and he was moving it back and forth trying to, just figure out what am I going to do here,
Well, the clock is going to stop with the player down.
Yeah, he's going to go back. He sees he's got nothing going. He slips, and he goes, oh, no. Now watch his head here. He's going to try and head fake these guys out right here. He starts head faking. He gets a few yards back, but it depends on where they place that ball. You may be right. They might have downed it where his knee went down.
Well, Hawthorne got a break because it could have been called down earlier. 2nd down and 1. Moala in there. Gonna chuck it. And it's incomplete.
Well, this is where you want to take chances with the pass, improve your passing game, see if you can beat a team that's got a good defense, and just go out there because you got 48 seconds. You're down by 17. Do a couple of passing plays, 3 or 4, and see if you can get it down there and get a break and get a score. Plus, it gets some experience for your quarterbacks, in the passing game.
But, of course, you've got to avoid the holding penalties, and they're not able to do that, so they're backed up a couple of yards. Do 2nd down over again. That's some big penalties tonight. One of the bigger ones, wiping out the 100-yard kickoff return. Lamar Keeble called back due to a clip. So this is going to bring up 2nd down and 17. 48 seconds and running. Hawthorne trying to work out a couple of things in these last few seconds. And you have to watch out for where Julian Gooden is. He's the one that's come up with the big INTs tonight on the defense for Hueneme. What they are discussing, I don't know. That's his scoreboard. 27 for the Hueneme Vikings. 10 for the Hawthorne Cougars. Looks like Joe there. 27 to Joe. That's interesting on that scoreboard. You see what you're seeing on the field now, if you ever go to an NFL game or a major college football game, you see this when they're holding things up, waiting for the TV to get back in. Now, we're not holding it up. I mean, we're not holding this thing up for commercials. That's what the big guys do. I mean, you go to a UCLA or USC game, or you go to an NFL game, you're going to see teams standing around, and you'll see a guy on the sidelines with a headset and a watch, and he's waiting for the TV commercial to end so he can tell the referee to start. But not here tonight. We don't quite have that kind of pull. Rush coming up, they get it off, and the pass is complete as Elgin Simmons makes the catch.
So Dave, are you saying that the referees have visions of possibly being an NFL football referee, so they kind of want to get in the swing of things?
Well, I interviewed Pam McGee once as they're going to, I'll tell you that story in a second, as Moala runs around trying to keep the drive alive. He is going to be close to the 1st down, 20 seconds to go. They'll move the chains, and Hawthorne will have the 1st down. I interviewed Pam McGee a couple of years ago when she played for the LA Sparks of the WNBA, and she told me that she thought that a lot of WNBA officials were trying to get into the NBA through the WNBA because they were making too many traveling calls on women basketball. She said, us women basketball players, we can move better than that, and they calling too many travels. That was her opinion. Here's an interception. Another one on the night. This one is picked off by Perez. And Perez is going to put a capper on it. He will end the night. 4 seconds to go.
4 interceptions, 3 fumbles.
Victor Perez on the INT, and it is all over. But the shouting, Hawthorne's going to go to 1-2. Hueneme will go over 500 to 2-1. They've got 2 more non-league games to go before they get into the league. Hawthorne Cougars into the league next week on Thursday night against Culver City.
And there's the bubble maker. She's having fun out there, blowing the bubbles. Everybody's blowing bubbles. I mean, their spirits aren't down. They're still blowing the bubbles.
Well, some yards being marked off here, but the bubbles are more important at this point.
The young ladies are having a great time there. They're not only watching their team play and having a good evening out here, they're blowing their bubbles.
So Hueneme just has to take the knee down one time, and that'll be it. Alan Pinedo been in there all the way, 3 backs in the backfield, the tight formation. Almost fumbles that exchange there, but that's going to do it. The clock is wound down, and this Friday night in the rain is all over. Hawthorne Cougars on their home opener non-league game. They dropped to 1-2 as they lose to the Port Hueneme Vikings by the count of 27-10. Hueneme 2-1. They have 2 more non-leagues to go. Hawthorne opens the league next week against Culver City. And a game, Ken, that basically got away from them in the first quarter. The defense came to play and played fairly well, but the offense made some big mistakes at the wrong time, especially in that first quarter when it was competitive.
Yeah, the offense looks like it's kind of feeling its way around. They're still not sure about everything, and as they play week by week, they'll get better at that. The defense for Hawthorne seems to have it down. They know what they want to do. They're not 100% there, but I'd say they're about 80% the way there. It's just their offense needs to come together and start getting used to each other and get from that 20% that they are about up to about an 80%, and then you're going to have a mean, lean Hawthorne machine.
Well, Ken, thank you very much for being with us here in the second half. Rufus Washington away again for the second week. Had other commitments. He may be back with us next week. We will see. But that's it for tonight. Hawthorne loses the home opener 27-10 is the final score here. It, of course, is a non-league game, so it does not count in the standings at all if they're concerned about that. But nevertheless, it is a loss that they did not want to take. But they have a chance next week to redeem themselves when they do open up right here at this field. Next Thursday, it'll be a rare Thursday night ball game, actually. They have a chance to open up, and they will play against Culver City. So for all of you out there, this is Ken. I'm Dave. He's the one at Woodstock, who was at Woodstock, not me. I was too young back then. I don't remember it. No, actually, I'm joking. But at any rate, the final score, once again, 27-10 in favor of the Port Hueneme Vikings over the Hawthorne Cougars. And for Dave Marks, Ken Fine, Rufus Washington, Tom Strickfaden, and everyone here at Channel 22 saying so long from Hawthorne. We will see you next week. Good night, everyone.